meeting, we are planning on trying to go through the articles for the annual town meeting, the warrant articles for the annual town meeting. We will not be reading the most recent minutes of our previous meetings. So let's take a look at, we have been going through the information. Are we?
We just have a few questions.
We got a couple
for
questions
Sandy.
before we get
Start.
into each of the articles here. Just to confirm with Sandy, all right?
Okay, Sandy?
Yes.
Sandy, there's a couple, how are you? There are a couple questions, I think Jeff and Karen have on the articles.
Is it just
Just
that
for
one?
clarification, please?
I think, yeah,
Alright.
there's,
Sandy?
Yes.
Sandy, can you hear me?
I can.
Article 12
Yep.
says transfer $300,000 from free cash. The amounts listed for each of the stabilization funds, looks like what I have in writing are the amounts that were approved last year.
Yeah, it looks like sewer stabilization's got the wrong number.
Looks like the stabilization, sewer stabilization should be 100,000, is that correct?
Hold on, I gotta get my other piece of paper. That's why we're looking at this, right?
That's right. Before we get to the town meeting.
Okay, so
We-
I've got,
We go through this exercise every year for good reason.
yes, it should be 100,000.
Okay, and then 50 for general stabilization?
Yes,
And 50 for litigation?
yeah.
And 100 for capital?
I guess I never changed that at all, did I?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
They're the same numbers as last year, so they just need to be updated for this year's numbers.
That's right.
And they total to 300.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Now, I don't know what the balance is, if that affects the balances.
Those balances are updated as of March 31st, 2021. I did that tonight.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I think that was the only one we found.
That's probably why that was all highlighted in yellow, because I haven't changed the numbers yet.
I can't hear you. What?
And I thought I did, but I guess not.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. That's only 1 out of 15, that's not bad.
does Susan,
Better than most baseball players.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if Sandy's paperwork that she sent us, there was just 2 corrections
I can't
on
get
that.
there.
I wanted to,
Okay, what's the name of the doc, if you just have to tell her what document it was. And
Sandy, it's Karen.
Yes.
You know the documents, you sent like 4 documents, and it listed FY '21 and FY '22, and then at the very top it had Article 3 scheduled compensation, and it's about 8 pages long. You know what one I'm talking about?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. It's a summary of all the appropriations.
Right, I don't know how critical that is for you, but there was just 2 things I found. One of them was the elected officials, that just seemed to be a typo, at 431, it should be 413. And then the other one that I noticed was the OPEB
Okay.
trust.
So-
Hold on, Karen.
All right.
You said, I can't hear you very well.
Okay, hold on.
And so the.
Okay,
I do
article-
have the one that the moderator should have been 413 versus 431.
Correct. Can you hear me now?
The town vote.
Can you hear me?
That,
I can't read this motion.
Can you hear me now?
you're just breaking up. I can't hear you. So it sounds like there's I don't know.
Can you hear me now?
Town meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, and then on the OPEB trust one,
yes, I know. That one should be 300,000 also.
all right, you saw that, from 6, right?
And so, and so be prepared that that's the way that's going to the town report, because it didn't get caught before then, so. But it's FY '21, so that's okay, I
All right,
guess.
I just
Not
wanted
okay.
to point it out, that's all, just because I know how you like your numbers to, that's all I could see, all right?
I like them to be really accurate.
I know. All right, thanks, Sandy.
Okay.
All right.
In Article 12, Mike, you'll see there's a correction. Sue?
Well, did you want to see the? Yes, Susan, there's been a couple of corrections. We'll just go over them now, nice and loud so everybody can hear.
Article 12,
On Article 12, and did you want to call it corrections or shall I?
you can.
Okay. We have for the town vote to transfer, we have 300,000, that number is correct. Then you go down a little further into the following stabilizations. We have 100,000 into sewer stabilization, $50,000 into general stabilization, $50,000 into litigation stabilization, and $100,000 to general stabilization.
Capital stabilization.
I'm sorry, capital stabilization, I read the word above it. So that we'll be accurate during during this recording. So, alrighty. All right, let us commence. Article 1, what I'll do is I will call out the article that we're gonna go through.
Yep.
And Article 1 does not pertain, that will be done by the select board. Article 2 is by the finance committee. So if you'd be so kind, Jeff, and just to let you know, Jeff, we have to read off each one of these spending limits.
All right.
And I actually have to repeat them, so it's
Okay.
and that'll be the case at town meeting as well.
Yeah, right, okay. I make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to fix the maximum amount that may be spent during fiscal year 2022, beginning on July 1st, 2021, for the revolving funds established in town bylaws for certain departments, boards, committees, agencies, or officers in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half as follows. The revolving fund for plumbing inspector, $15,000. Electrical inspector, $10,000. Tree warden planning board, $5,000. Cemetery department, $2,500. Council on Aging Transportation, $20,000. Council on Aging Programs, $15,000. Cemetery Department, $5,000. Legal Advertising, $3,000. Parks Maintenance, $2,000. And Highway Department for boom mower, $9,000.
Second.
A motion has been made and by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend at town meeting, thank you, recommend at town meeting to fix the maximum amount that may be spent during fiscal year 2022, beginning on July 1st, 2021, for the revolving funds established in town by town bylaws for certain departments, boards, committees, agencies, or other officers in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, as follows. Plumbing inspector, $15,000. Electrical inspector, $10,000. Tree warden, planning board, $5,000. Cemetery department, $2,500. Council on Aging Transportation, $20,000. Council on Aging Programs, $15,000. Cemetery Department, $5,000. Legal Advertising, $3,000. Parks Maintenance, $2,000. And Highway Department boom mower is $9,000. All right, these are pretty much the same as they were last year, correct, Sandy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, this doesn't change from year to year. This is so that when inspections are done and fees are expended and such, this is how they are paid for. And generally, this doesn't go against our tax rate at all. It's a revolving fund, so money comes in from the people that have hired, like contractors, for instance, will pay for a building permit, and in doing so, that money goes, it just allows us to move money through these accounts. It's actually we did it quite a few years ago, and it's really helped out a lot.
As opposed to funding each department separately.
Right. If we didn't do this exactly, we would have to fund it at a given level, and then
Any balance would go to free cash.
right, balances would go to free cash and things of that nature. That isn't necessary any longer. So that actually works out very well for us.
These balances stay in the department, is that right, Sandy?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Do the balances remaining at the end of the year stay in the department and don't go to free cash?
Well, these are special revenue funds, so yes, it stays in the special revenue fund.
Right, yeah.
So that, those, they don't roll to free cash or anything like that. They just,
Right.
it's not exactly departments, it's
Right,
revolving funds.
right.
So, to the question about whether the spending limits will change, there is, within the Council on Aging, although this year might not be the same, those balances grow, and as they grow and exceed what the spending limit is, we need to change the spending limit. But I have a theory that maybe we could, if they're going to continue to grow, just like a couple of the other ones, like legal advertising, the balance up to $3,000 will be available for expenditure, but anything removes back to the general fund. And that's something I want to talk to the director, because the balances are growing and the spending isn't occurring, and there's no reason to keep that much money in a fund if we have to. So
Right.
certainly they can either reduce the cost of the fees to that grow that fund, because you really shouldn't have, in this revolving 53E.5, you shouldn't have balances that grow. Yes, you raise the funds with fees, you spend the money, and it should go to close to zero.
It's not
That's
supposed
what
to
a
be a
revolving
money
fund
maker.
is for, so
Right.
gonna have to take a look at that stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe this year we'll have, hopefully the dust will settle down a little bit, and we'll be able to make some adjustments on these this year.
Right, and maybe this year isn't the right year, because the senior center's been closed.
Right.
So the revenue from what grew those funds to begin
Right.
with a little exception of the transportation, isn't there. So might not be a good year to look at that, and maybe see what happens next year,
Yeah,
once
in
things
twen-
start opening back up.
Yeah, in 2023, we'll take
Yeah,
a look at it, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. Mike, do you have any questions?
I'm all set, thank you.
Susan, do you have any questions? Set. Thank you very much. Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all of those in favor of the motion signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff
Aye.
Noble's an aye, Karen is an aye.
Aye.
Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan is an aye, and myself, I have an aye. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, Article 3, if you could, please.
I make a motion to recommend the town meeting that the town vote to adopt the schedule of compensation for elected officials for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 as follows. Moderator, $421. Town clerk, $56,957. Select board chairman, $4,929. And other select board members, $3,922 each.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend to town meeting the schedule, to adopt the schedule of compensation for elected officials for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021 as follows. Moderator, $421. Town clerk, $56,957. Select board chair, $4,929. Other select board members is $3,922 each. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. These are just, all of these are elected officials. For everyone's edification, the finance committee is not compensated. Well, it's kind of crazy. A lot of people think there is a level of because we're elected.
Some are, some towns they are.
Yes, some are compensated, but we do this out of the goodness of our hearts for the town. We do, and while we're kind of on that subject, we do need help. So if there's anybody out there that would be willing to come on the finance committee, it'd be greatly appreciated. So, and you don't have to be a finance specialist. So, yes, and that is a shameless plug. Okay, Susan, you all set? Okay, everyone is all set. Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, and William Drosine is an aye. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Article 4, if you would, please.
I make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the amounts of money set forth in the printed report of the Finance Committee for fiscal year 2022 and totaling $8,091,026 be appropriated for the several purposes therein itemized, each numbered item being considered as a separate appropriation, and that the same be expended only for such purposes.
Second.
Motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend a town meeting the report printed by the Finance Committee for fiscal year 2022 in the total amount of $8,091,026 $26 be appropriated for the several purposes therein itemized, each numbered item being considered as a separate appropriation, and that the same be expanded only for such purposes. So this of course is the operating budget for this fiscal year, for this coming fiscal year, 2022. It appears that we have a relatively low budget this year with a minimum increase. I don't happen to have the paperwork. At any rate, we are of course well under the Proposition 2.5 levy limit, and we shouldn't have any real problems getting through this fiscal year. There are some things that are going to turn up in the coming fiscal year that we may have to revisit during the year, primarily associated with the latest Police Reform Act that took place in December of 2020. So this may end up adjusted, but hopefully if the fiscal year is good to us, we may not have to adjust anything, which would be even better from a finance committee. Are there any questions by the committee? Seeing or hearing no further questions or discussion, all those in favor for the operating budget for the town of Dalton signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye,
Aye.
Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Lombardi is an aye, William Drosine is an aye. That is unanimous. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, Article 5.
I make a motion to recommend a town meeting that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,125 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021, for the purpose of providing recreation and leisure time activities to the people of Dalton.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to raise and recommended to town meeting to raise and appropriate the sum of $60,125 for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021, for the purpose of providing recreation and leisure time activities to the people of Dalton. This just kind of a real recap on this. This budget or this article covers a grant to the I believe it's the CRA. This provides a grant for them to take care of our, like, lines on the fields and administer all of the programs that take place for our children and other leisure activities that take place in the town. That includes like basketball courts for adults and maintenance and things like that. So it isn't just simply the kids. It's many adults are very much involved in things that take place. Are there any other questions relating to the parks budget? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye. Mike Jerome's an aye.
Aye.
Susan Carol Lombardi's an aye, and William Grosine is an aye. That is unanimous, thank you very much. Okay, Article 6. Well, we are cruising right along here tonight, this is good.
I'll make a motion to recommend the town meeting that the town vote to raise and appropriate $8,130,684 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the operating budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend at town meeting to raise and appropriate $8,130,684 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the operating budget of Central Berkshire Regional School District for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021. This is a very, very good budget for not only for us but for the entire district. I commend the school district for keeping the budget tight and making things really being able to give us this kind of a budget this year. We're pretty fortunate. Are there any other questions from the committee? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye. Karen Schmidt is an aye. Mike Jerome is an aye. Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye. William Grosine is an aye. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Article 7.
I'll make a motion to recommend the town meeting that the town vote to raise and appropriate $453,885 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the transportation budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend at town meeting to vote to raise and appropriate $453,885 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the transportation budget of Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021. This is pretty self-explanatory. We got to get the kids to school. Susan, do you have any questions?
Sandy does.
Oh, Sandy.
I will after you're done with this one, okay?
Okay.
We might have to go back to one of them.
Okay, we can revisit. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing or hearing no further discussion on Article 7. On Article 7, please signify if all those in favor, please signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye. Karen Schmidt is an aye. Mike Jerome is an aye. Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye. And William Grosine is an aye. All right. Well. Hi, Sandy. Welcome back.
I would like Karen to double check what she believes the operating number for CBRSD should be, because I think I have a typo.
The
In
one
that
Sandy?
Central Berkshire Regional School District Transportation.
Which budget?
Oh, operating.
Oh, operating, I'm sorry. Operating budget. That looked kind of familiar.
For the Central Berkshire?
Yeah, the Central Berkshire
Yes.
operating budget.
This one.
Check that. Mike, you've got your
Sandy?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be on the budget itself, Sandy?
Sorry, Sharon, I can't hear you.
So I went through all of that.
That number seems familiar to me.
I got operating and transportation is 8,584,749.
No, no.
I didn't hear that number. I believe it should be 8,130,864.
That's,
Entire budget increased by, is that what you're talking about?
No, the total amount of the budget.
81306. Yeah, I
The actual operating number.
Yeah, 813,864.
Oh,
8,130,64.
What do you-
864. And what did she put?
Could it be?
684.
No, I don't have the right one.
Yes.
Just verify our numbers.
864, this says 684.
Yeah, Sandy, it is, it's a, transposition, it should be 8130864.
Correct. That's not what's in Article 6.
So Article 6 has gotta be revisited
Yep.
with an 864, not 684.
Correct.
Okay,
Is that the right number, Sandy?
good catch, Stan.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandy.
Welcome. We're gonna have to fix that.
All right, what we need to do is we need to reopen the motion for Article 6.
Yeah.
We don't really need to read the full motion until we're ready to make the amendment. So first we have to vote on the article to reopen it. And then once we have the article reopened, once we have the motion reopened, then we can go. So if you would, please.
Make a motion to reopen the Article 6 motion.
Okay. All those, do we have a second?
Oh, second.
Okay. A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to reopen the motion for Article 6, the Central Berkshire Regional School operating budget. Now, what we want to do now is, we want to
You have to
amend,
vote to agree that.
I'm sorry?
You have to vote to agree.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Jeff.
That's all right.
All those in favor of the motion, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All right.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, William Grossine's an aye. The Article 6 motion is now open. Now we need to amend the motion to read.
I'll make a motion to amend the motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to raise and appropriate $8,130,864 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the operating budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021.
Second.
Did I read the right number?
Yeah, 864, correct.
864, right?
Right, correct.
Yeah, I
didn't even see that, but the 86
Okay.
didn't catch
All right.
it.
Yeah.
okay. A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to amend the budget that was recommended to the town, at town meeting, to raise and appropriate $8,130,864. That is an increase of $180 from the previous amendment, or from the previous motion. Right, is everyone in agreement on that?
Yes,
You don't have the paperwork that we had when we approved it?
I don't have the book.
You don't have the book, yeah.
Mike had his, and I think we found it.
I guess, Sandy, that is the money, the amount that we approved back in, whenever we approved the budget, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Welcome.
All right. Okay. Seeing or hearing no further discussion on the amended motion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, and William Grossine is an aye. That is good.
There's the number of the budget. That's the right number.
It is written. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mike. We have the correct number. Okay, so next is,
Just give me 1 second.
Article 8 is gonna be next. I just wanna read that.
We did the transportation, but Article 7.
Yes,
right?
Article 7 is done,
Or
yes.
Article 8.
Article 8.
I'll make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to raise and appropriate $1,366,667 for the purpose of paying the town share of the capital budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend to town meeting that we vote to raise and appropriate $1,366,667 for the purpose of paying the town's share of the capital budget of the Central Berkshire Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021. All right. I think we've already reviewed all of the various places that the money is to go.
Yeah.
Would anyone like a rereading of that?
It might be smart.
Okay.
Make sure the
But
numbers are correct.
that's okay.
Sure.
Where the money is supposed to go to is Wacona High School Building, $1,221,639. Central Craneville Air Handler, $12,269. District Security is $5,732. Wacona Sidewalks, $7,316. Craneville Roof, $48,477. And the Wacona Doors, $63,549. The non-debt excluded project for the Kittredge windows is $3,260. And Beckett Washington renovation is $4,425.
Are those the numbers that we had at the?
Yeah, it should have been
I
and all that.
don't have numbers.
They-
Yeah, it's the number that we approved.
That is the number, okay, that's the
All
number we
those
went
numbers?
through.
All
Okay,
right.
we've already approved this amount. All right.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've got ourselves a winner. Are there any other questions?
No.
Okay. Seeing or hearing no further discussion on Article 8, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye,
Aye.
Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, and William Racine is an aye. That is unanimous. Again, we have a lot of winners tonight. That's a good thing. All right, Article 9.
I'll make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to transfer $65,000 from free cash in the treasury to account 132, the reserve fund, for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2021.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend at town meeting to transfer $65,000 from free cash in the treasury to account 132, the reserve fund, for the fiscal year beginning on July 1st, 2021. This is used for any unanticipated, this is more kind of for the camera than it is anything else. This money allows us to take care of any unforeseen or unanticipated events that may take place. So then we used so far this year, I think we're down to under $10,000 this year. There are some years,
11,100.
oh, I thought we did a transfer that brought us down lower. Sandy, where's our free cash, do you know? Or not our free cash, our
The balance.
Reserve fund.
reserve fund, I'll get it. Do you remember?
I thought it was like 10,100 or something like that.
Okay, all right. So we're down right around $10,000 left in it this year. Some years we use very little, other years we use quite a bit. in other years, and we'll have, we actually probably won't read it tonight, but we have another, sometimes a motion that takes place at town meeting to replenish our reserve fund. So, and we have to look at available funds to replenish it. So that's something, that's an article that we probably won't visit this evening, because we don't know at this point what number to put in. All right. So is there any other discussion regarding reserve? Just one last thing is reserve fund. The reserve fund is the only budget that the finance committee has kind of complete autonomy over. So in other words, they have to come to the finance committee for us to release any of the funds from that. All of the other money that's related to these budgets actually has to be taken care of by the people of the town of Dalton. So if any changes have to be made, it's pretty interesting. All right, if there's any further discussion, there is seeing or hearing no further discussion. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye. Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, William Drosine is an aye. That is unanimous, thank you. Excuse me. Article 10.
Article 10, I'll make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to transfer $200,000 from free cash in the treasury for the purpose of reducing the expected tax rate increase in the 2022 fiscal year.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend at town meeting to transfer $200,000 from free cash in treasury for the purpose of reducing the expected tax rate increase in the 2022 fiscal year. We're just trying to, this helps just keep the tax rate stable. It's actually a pretty good way to do that. It's not generally highly recommended that we do that, but considering that we have free cash is quite healthy, I think it's something that we should be doing.
Can I give a little explanation about that one?
I'm sorry?
Can I give an explanation about that reason we're still doing that 200,000?
Do you have a read any why we're continuing?
Pardon me?
Yes.
Yes. That's just
So-
only.
Just say
yes.
So I'm just explaining how Ken explained the reason we still are doing this reduction of free cash. We keep the communications budget whole, even though we have a grant from the E911 support. It's called the E911 Support and Incentive Grant. Of this year was $150 some odd thousand. So by keeping that budget whole, because that's the way it's been done since we received this grant for a number of years, Ken feels that it's in the town's best interest to help offset the tax rate by reducing it by $200,000 to offset what we don't really have to appropriate in the communications department. So that's why that's been done all this time.
Basically, the free cash gets replenished.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Does the
I
free
didn't hear
cash
that.
get replenished by that grant?
Right.
Right.
So for as much as the grant is, that's how we have free cash from that
Right.
department.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of a good example of this is, you know how we talked about the revolving accounts that we just approved? We just went through. That's similar to what's happening here. So what we do is instead of it ending up on the tax rate, what we do is we put this $200,000 from free cash,
Right.
which is garnered from the grant.
Right.
Back, we send that back to the taxpayers, which is pretty important, really, a good idea. Yes, Susan?
Sandy, you said the grant is $150 some odd thousand.
This year, yes, it was 127.9 for many years, and this year it increased.
And so
Yeah, it increased a little bit last year. It increased to 157, something like that this year. So,
And so the 200,000 is this grant money plus just whatever to bring it up to 200,000?
yes, just the number that Ken is using, or has been used to reduce the tax rate by. So it's pulled out of free cash. The free cash that is being grown by this grant is about 150 something thousand. So
It's kind of.
I would think the rest of it could be leftover budget in other departments that
Right.
he's helping, you know.
Yeah. Being able to do that actually helps keep the town healthy as well. From a fiscal viewpoint, it helps keep us healthy. So, it's kind of a pretty important piece of the puzzle.
When do we get free cash balance certified?
When are we going to?
Yes.
As soon as I can get the work done,
It's
hopefully before the town meeting.
Before town meeting? Okay.
It has to be, otherwise we're not gonna vote any free cash appropriations.
Right. We don't have that amount at this point, right? We don't have the amount at this point, right?
I heard the word right and I heard something we don't in the beginning, but
I
I
said
didn't hear the middle.
We do not have the actual amount at this point.
I am estimating it to be $1.1 million, but I know it's gonna be more because I kinda do what DOR does when I know the numbers that they use to give us our free cash. It's gonna be more, but I do not want to, I don't wanna use that number until they certify it.
Sure, that's okay.
And it's gonna be more than what I estimated at $1.1 million. Not much, but a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, that's helpful, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are there any other questions concerning the free cash transfer? Article 10? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble is an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, William Grosstein is an aye. That is unanimous, thank you very much. Now.
The reason I mentioned that free cash balance is it shows up on the spreadsheet here.
Yeah.
Page 4. And that's where the transfer of the $200,000 comes from based on an estimate of free cash balance, which is not certified on the front page yet. So the things do tie together.
Thanks.
Now, Article 11, we are not taking any action on. Is that, Sandy, was that Article 11, was that the one with, I'm just checking with you. That was the one to,
If you need to vote more to your reserve fund in this current year, that is the article
Right,
we would
okay.
do it from.
yeah, that's why I was wondering, that's where that article would have turned up. So.
Right.
This article,
And-
and we're gonna go right by it, is that, this Article 11 was to, it's there, it's kind of a placeholder for us in case we need to put money into the reserve fund. All right, let's move on to Article 12.
Article 12, I'll make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to transfer $300,000 from free cash in the treasury in the following amounts to the following stabilization funds. $100,000 to the sewer stabilization fund, $50,000 to the general stabilization fund, $50,000 to the litigation stabilization fund, and $100,000 to the capital stabilization fund.
Second,
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend to town meeting to transfer $300,000 from free cash in the treasury in the following amounts to the following stabilization funds. $100,000 to the sewer stabilization fund, $50,000 to the general stabilization fund, $50,000 to the litigation stabilization fund, and $100,000 to the capital stabilization fund. And the present balance in the general stabilization is $937,125. Capital stabilization is $1,216,028. Litigation is $368,139, and sewer stabilization is $753,800. Yes.
Those numbers are correct. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Chairman, but the total that you have there before you say it is not. So,
Say that again?
you're reading the stabilization fund balances as of March 31st.
Oh, okay, these are stabilizations as of March 31st, correct.
Right, and the total though that you have there that I wrote there is not correct.
Right.
So,
Those all lumpy.
I can give you the correct total, that all those add up to be,
Okay,
is
well, I think I
$3
better
million.
make sure that number is straight before I go before the voters.
She stopped you in time.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you like that.
That's okay, that's okay. We will probably have that, I will probably like to make mention of these at town meeting.
Yeah,
So if we
What's the
can,
total?
because people do indeed ask that question, so answer the question before it's asked.
There you go.
Right.
That's kind of where I want to be with that one.
So what's the total?
so the correct number, and I will send all of you a revision of all of the things we found in error on this article's
Okay.
in motion, is $3,275,092.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a pretty
I'm
good
glad
one.
we're doing this.
Yep.
Well, right. Sandy, I do have a question, kind of about the stabilizations in general.
Okay.
The last time we used the stabilization fund for anything was during the sewer, was it that sewer main break over on Housatonic Street?
We may have, I will have to go back and look.
I'm pretty sure that was the last time we ended up going into one of the stabilization accounts to use them, correct?
Yeah, but I don't think it was a whole lot of money.
It ended up not being as much money as we thought it was gonna be, in the end.
Right.
It wasn't, I don't even think it was $200,000, was it? Might have been
No,
a
I
little
don't-
less than that.
It's 52,000 is sticking in my head, but I don't know that to be.
That
Exactly.
sounds, because there was some sort of overcharges or something, and we ended up not using as much as we thought we were gonna. I seem to recall. But anyway,
Yeah.
the thought process here with this kind of going in is that that's what these stabilization funds are for, in case something like that crops up. So if we can,
Like, we always use the capital stabilization for capital projects.
right. Right,
And-
if we don't happen to have money or, something large and capital needs to come up, instead of putting in under raise and appropriate, or go to a capital borrowing, we can actually go to this capital stabilization. If the need is necessary, but of course it's not this year, so. All right, are there any other questions concerning Article 12? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
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 Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, and William Drosine is an aye. Thank you very much, that is unanimous. Right, moving right along. Article 13.
Article 13, I make a motion to recommend to town meeting that the town vote to transfer the sum of $300,000 from free cash in the treasury to the other post-employment benefits trust fund for the purpose of reducing the unfunded actuarial liability of health care and other post-employment benefits.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend to town meeting to transfer the sum of $300,000 from free cash in the treasury to other post-employment benefits trust fund for the purpose of reducing the unfunded actuarial liability of healthcare and other post-employment benefits. So I see that we have approximately $2.5 million in the present trust. Is that correct, Sandy?
I have a figure for that, I just gotta find
What
it.
did you say we had?
Where are you getting that number from, Bill? From the financial spreadsheet?
No, from the article, it's actually written on the article, Sandy.
Oh, yeah.
Got it highlighted, Sandy, for what it's worth.
Oh,
Yeah, you actually
okay.
have them highlighted.
So that liability, the reason that liability is highlighted is because I do believe since June 30th, 2019, we've had another actuarial study of which I need to find it and see if that liability number is lower than it is right now.
That would be cool.
Yeah. And the 2.5 million in the OPEB trust, I just got an update from Dawn, which I'm trying to find that paper of what it is through March. And it's not here. I don't know what happened to it. It's around somewhere, but I didn't get a chance to update that.
That's okay. So
But it's invested in the state, the same thing it says there, in the state, trust,
Trust fund.
Yeah, the retiree.
state
trust.
retiree trust fund.
Yeah,
It's invested in there and it's doing very well. We have had some hiccups with, the same as when other people's retiree things are going south. It still seems to rebound even though it goes south for a
Yeah.
period of time.
now I happened to think of it the other day, Sandy. When we have someone retire, for instance, do we draw from the trust fund for that retiree, or do we just go through raise and appropriate for that?
So we have a retirement assessment
Right.
that is raised and appropriated, and we're not completely, what's the word I want? Funded. Once we're completely funded, there's a way that we could use the retirement assessment, because it's supposed to go down once we're completely funded, to pay for this OPEB liability. So I don't know what the liability is right now, but what I do know, I found that paper with that Don gave me through March 2021. Our ending balance in the trust fund is $3,420,236.
Wow. 3 million what?
$3,420,236. And that's after a loss in March. So we didn't gain anything in March, we lost 29,451.
Wow.
Well,
We're a
Need a
little
lot
over
more
a
than
million. We're a little over a million,
Yeah.
just slightly over a million from being fully funded,
Right.
making that liability go away. Wow, that'd be kind of cool.
How does the liability increase or decrease year to year? What's that based on? Number of employees?
There's a whole bunch of factors
Yeah,
in it.
I'm sure, it's like life insurance, right?
I can't off the top of my head answer that question.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do know, because of how well the town is doing, and because we're putting money in this trust fund, we get a discount of like almost 7%, off of what they determine our liability is. So that's good, because we are taking care of that, that liability by putting money away in this trust allocation account.
Right.
So, like I said, I don't have all those figures in front of me, so I can't really quite.
I guess I'm just curious in general, does that liability tend to increase or decrease year after year? And I guess I'm not sure.
I think it
why.
depends on how many retirees we have.
Yeah, or have to look forward to.
Yeah, see, I don't have a current, I don't know if there's a current one.
Higher your payroll.
I think the last one was June 30th of 19, and another one should be coming.
Right.
So that number, so they talk about assumptions changing in here, and, GASB has standards that you have to follow. And with this 2019 number that you have here,
Yeah.
that discount rate I was telling you about changed from 3.5 to 7, which decreased the disclosed liability by 2.3 million.
Wow.
So it was decreased by that at June 30th, 2019. So that's where you ended up with the 4 point, whatever it is,
Right.
Yeah,
4 point million somewhat.
Yeah, 4.5
And-
million. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Might be 2 point something at the end of it.
That
Yeah,
would be
those are
even
just
cooler.
very general. This report is available for anyone that wants to take a look at it.
Really?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Keep that right on the top of your desk.
Yeah, keep it handy. All right.
So because of that, I don't know what TOL stands for. Anyway, our liability went from 6,544,000 at the end of June 30th, 2018 to 4,531,000 after June 30th, 2019.
Yeah, wow.
So that's why I'm thinking there's another report that we just haven't gotten yet,
Right.
and that would have better numbers.
Okay.
I'll have to check with Dawn. She would know if that report is out there yet.
Okay.
Dawn holds all the cards.
Yeah. It's usually done every 2 years.
Yeah,
Oh, 2 years. Oh.
all right. Dawn is our treasurer. I don't, some people aren't aware of that. Dawn Fahey is our treasurer. Really good at it, too. All right. Are there any other questions or concerns about the OPEB liability? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, those in favor of Article 13 signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye.
Aye.
Karen Schmidt is an aye.
Aye.
Mike Jerome is an aye.
Aye.
Carol Lombardi's an aye. William Grosine is an aye. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Next, Article 14.
Article 14, I'll make a motion to recommend the town meeting that the town vote to authorize payment of unpaid bills in the amount of $985 for 2 invoices for fiscal year 20 that were received after the formal end of the year. This action is pursuant to the requirements of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 64.
Second.
A motion has been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to recommend to town meeting to authorize payment of unpaid bills in the amount of $985 for 2 invoices for for FY20 that were received after the formal end of the year. This action is pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 64. Is this a 2/3 vote at town meeting, Sandy, or is this just
I think it was thought that it had to be 2/3 vote at one time, but that language wasn't on last year's warrant articles. So I think it's been determined it doesn't need to be.
Oh,
Don't know that for sure. I'll find out.
yeah, well, just a nice kind of a note to have there. To see if it has to be, so. All right, that's just for, invoices came in on, they were for FY '20, and we're paying for them in FY '21, correct, Sadie?
They were in FY '20 and they never materialized till like September,
Okay, all right. Okay,
and it was an oops.
yeah, that's fine. Things happen. All right. Are there any other questions concerning Article 14? Seeing or hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye. Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi is an aye, and William Drosine is an aye. That is unanimous. That is officially a wrap for the budget season for this year.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made by Jeff Noble, seconded by Karen Schmidt, to adjourn. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Jeff Noble's an aye, Karen Schmidt is an aye, Mike Jerome is an aye, Susan Carol Lombardi's an aye.
Sandy, do you need us, Sandy?
Well, I just want you all to know that you still have capital projects to take care of, so you're not officially done. You're not officially done with the budget season until the tax rate sets. Just telling you.
And I'm not.
So I'm gonna say Dan.
Have a good night.
That is unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Sandy,
Thank you.
Thank you for all of your work this year on these budgets. It's greatly appreciated. Hopefully things will be a little smoother for everyone next year. So thank you, Susan, for